Attorney General's position is open because that fellow is now trying to run for governor. And we have an open seat there. The Republican candidate is Pete Serrano, who's been here in this room a few times. Pete is the mayor of Pasco, down in the Tri-Cities area, and an attorney, obviously. And as much as being the mayor of Pasco is something he's known for, he's really known for starting a conservative, like basically a conservative version of the ACLU. He started a nonprofit law firm called the Silent Majority Foundation. And they take on, from a constitutional perspective, lawsuits the same way that some of the left-wing groups take on lawsuits from their Marxist or whatever it is perspective. And the Silent Majority Foundation has done some great stuff. Specific to our neighborhood, they are representing Gators Guns, Wally Onsover across the street, in his lawsuit against the state on the matter of the magazine ban, selling those magazines that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition. And they're known primarily for fighting for Second Amendment gun rights, but they've also done some First Amendment lawsuits. A gal was fired from Wazoo, from Washington State University, for speaking critically about COVID shots. And she was a science professor at Wazoo and got fired from her position for basically expressing a minority opinion. Okay, most of her colleagues don't agree with her perspective, okay, fine, but to my mind, that's what universities are supposed to be for, right? I mean, a diversity of opinions that hammer it all out, right? Anyway, so Serrano's Silent Majority Foundation is representing the gal who got the boot from Wazoo. And so they do First Amendment, they do Second Amendment, they do some Fourth and Fifth Amendment stuff. So they're a constitutional outfit, and they take on cases where the client wouldn't necessarily have enough money to litigate by themselves. And so the Silent Majority Foundation takes the case on for free to the client and pushes the matter in court. So it would be great to have a guy who's a constitutional lawyer as the state's attorney general, because it's been a long time since we've had that. Going on down the ballot, you'll see the Commissioner of Public Lands, another interesting race. Again, the incumbent is gone. She tried to run for governor and failed, and then she tried to run for Congress and failed, and now I don't know what she's doing, but she's not going to be there anymore. So it's an open seat for the Commissioner of Public Lands. In many states, that position is appointed by the governor. In our state, it's independently elected. And that commissioner oversees DNR, the Department of Natural Resources. And that's, of course, managing timberland. And the last several commissioners have just screwed it up terribly. The public timberland in the state is designed to be managed. The trees grow, the trees get harvested, we sell the wood as timber, and that's non-tax money to the state of Washington. And not just the state, to local county governments, to school districts, to fire districts and library districts. The reason the libraries are north of here are all called the Timberland Library System is they were literally funded by the timberland that the state owns. So it's been screwed up. The money from harvesting the public timberland has just been siphoned down to almost nothing. And it'd be great to get a commissioner in there who would restart harvesting timberland from public timberland and get that money flowing back into the system. Like, maybe we don't need so many taxes if we can get some of that money from selling timber and wood product. The former congresswoman from this area, Jamie Herrera Butler, made it through the primary. And the option there, like in the governor's race, is terrible. The option is a current county councilor in King County. King County doesn't have a 3-commissioner system. They have a 7 or 9, I think it's 7 counselor system to run their county. And one of the counselors is a fella who's now running for Commissioner of Public Lands, and just a disaster. I don't know if the guy's ever set a foot into any kind of timberland. I don't think you could tell a hemlock from a spruce from I don't know, anything. it's going to be an interesting race, that one. Working our way down, a little bit, as Dan mentioned, we have a lot of public offices that are independently elected at the state level, where in other states these positions are appointed as the governor's cabinet, but here in Washington we elect them separately, governor. The state treasurer is one like that. The state treasurer handles primarily bonds and other forms of debt financing mechanisms that state issues. Of course, the superintendent of public instruction, the school superintendent for the state, that's an elected position. I like our candidate there, a fellow by the name of David Olson, who's a school board member out of the Key Peninsula School District up in Pierce County. I'm leaving somebody else out. Insurance commissioner. Insurance commissioner is another one in our state that we elect separate of the governor, where in other states it's a position the governor appoints. I think that insurance commissioner race is going to get some attention this year because insurance rates have gone up so high. Homeowners, auto, business, anything. And we like, the candidate there we like is Phil Fortunato. He's currently a state senator out of the Auburn area. And he's running for insurance commissioner pretty much on a straight consumer advocate type platform. And that's needed. I think that would be a good improvement over the insurance commissioners we've had. And another one of the statewide executive electeds, one that, again, doesn't get as much attention as it should every cycle, but is independently elected and is critically important to the good operating of state government, state agencies, state bureaucracies, is the state auditor. Now, the state auditor is a little different than county auditors. And really, some have said that the position ought to be called state inspector general. I mean, basically, the auditor is one who sort of checks on the operations of other departments of the state. It's an important position that sometimes gets overlooked, and I think we're at a place in our state's history where we shouldn't overlook it. We need to pay attention to state auditor. And our candidate for state auditor is here with us tonight. Matt Hawkins, out of Spokane, is through the primary and running against a long-term incumbent state auditor. And we like Matt Hawkins. Matt, talk to us about state auditor. Oh, Whitaker, right.